Hey guys, it's Esteban with Incognitistic again. I wanted to talk about overexplaining. Um, I seem to have a problem with overexplaining what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking to people, and it often makes it so that the other person loses interest or gets confused. And I'm really not sure why, because when I overexplain, I try to cover as much detail as possible. And that sometimes seems to fall upon deaf ears, or it goes one ear out and out the other. Um, and so I've learned through the research that I've done on neurodivergence is that we are so used to having to explain ourselves and our actions because they are usually different than the regular actions and behaviors that neurotypical people would have, that it becomes a habit to have to explain everything to the micro detail and be surgically precise in doing it. Because when when we have to explain ourselves, it's usually not in a good term. It usually is in the scenario where the neurodivergent person is in trouble because of something they did. So not only does that over explaining happen in a agitated state, usually, it also happens quite often. And so the pattern causes a muscle memory for us, a routine of explaining ourselves to the point where it's ad nauseum to the person that's listening or was listening. And I know that another thing that happens with the over explaining is that people will think that I'm trying to sway their view or perception or even try to gaslight them when I'm just trying to explain what my view is and what it is that I'm doing and explaining my actions. And it's really difficult as somebody who has been neurodivergent because I see it. I see the times in my past when I've gotten in trouble for my behaviors and then have gotten in trouble for trying to explain myself. But oftentimes, that explanation was something that was asked for. And so I guess the term is stuck between a rock and a hard place, or damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's business as usual for this kind of situation. So, yeah, the over explanation can also bore the person that you're explaining to. And oftentimes, because you're explaining to them, uh, they walk away or they interrupt, and then that causes chaos in the brain as well. And then the last thing is, the last scenario is that they don't want the over explanation, and a basic explanation will do just fine, but we're so programmed to give this overly robust explanation of what it is that we're talking about or doing that it comes to the point where it's overkill and the person doesn't want it. So, one of the things that I try to do, and at times I can be successful, is to be mindful that I'm not in trouble, and the person that I'm talking to wants a basic explanation of whatever it is that they're asking about. What do you think? Write down in the comments if you have any thoughts. Thanks for watching. Bye.